right, we're live. All right, we're live. What's up, guys? John Cintas here, Cutternation podcast. Super pumped about today's podcast with a legend on Instagram. Hopefully, you guys have seen him on Instagram or on one of our other buddies, the Art of Pitching podcast, Alex Casillas, aka Flama Blanca. Before we jump into that, don't forget to check out my website for my gear. Get your Throw Hard jerseys. I've got a couple snapbacks with leather patches on the front made by Branded Bills. I really like these. These are leather patches with laser etched my logo into that. So if you guys want those, you can get those drop shipped to you. Also got weighted balls, J-bands, flush bands on my website, anything on there. Don't forget to check out my YouTube and subscribe. So without further ado, once again, here he comes, ladies and gentlemen, Flama Blanca. Now, Flama, you're ready. You've got the monster. Oh yeah, I put coffee on. I forgot it. I'll get that later. But you know, for the people who have caught you on the Art of Pitching podcast, I think that they're missing out. And I gotta message Chance. You know, he's got to get a video portion of that thing going, because without your facial expressions, the zoom in and outs, and your rants.
I videotaped it.
Good, because people need to know. Like, I found you like a year ago, doing some some following and stuff on Driveline, and I just we were talking about it a little bit earlier, and you were doing a couple of things I found really interesting as far as with throwing and some of the stuff that you're putting out in your captions. So, and I think I even saw a post of like that you had played Mexicali, so I tried to do a little bit more research. You know, obviously now that I know you'd gone by a different name. And even then, it's kind of funny. You and I actually played in the Pecos League at the same time, I found out.
Really?
Yeah, Joe Torre actually confirmed that for me.
Oh, you know him?
Yeah, I know him too.
But Joe Torre, I was in the Pecos. He was in the. I played. He was like he helped out in El Paso. That was the American Association.
Exactly, yeah. So when he went to El Paso, he was going back and forth actually from El Paso and the Pecos League. And so, what team were you on in the Pecos League that year?
White Sands Pupfish.
So I think we were on the same team, dude. I swear to God.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I was with White Sands, and then I got traded to Santa Fe.
Nah, man, not at the same time.
Who was your manager?
That little sawed-off Elmer Fudd-looking dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I came. I started the year off in Washington Wild Things in the Frontier League, and then I still don't even know why. Like, it made like no logical sense. Like, I could see if I got hit around, I threw pus or walked a bunch of people, but I shoved. I made two really embarrassing PFP mistakes. But other than that, I didn't do anything. But they traded me for a player to be named later, and they said that assuming I keep pitching the way I do, since I've been out of baseball for almost 2 years, that they rather me go to the Pecos League. They see me as a starter, so go get innings, and then they'll bring me back. So 2 weeks later, 44 Ks or whatever it is later, in like 22 innings or some shit, I don't remember what it is, they called me, and I'm like, fuck you, assholes.
Okay.
I was so offended.
So that year, I think that same year, I actually would have been, I was in Lake Erie. I was in Lake Erie.
Really?
Yeah, and we came to play you guys, and I pitched at the end.
It was a preseason game. I pitched in that game, and then I made two stupid errors. Like, one, I struck out like 4 dudes in that one inning. Like, because I think we got one was a swing and miss, and then a pass ball on the 3rd strike, and then the catcher threw it away. I don't remember. And then I think the dumb play was, one, I had a little comebacker, and I think I sailed it over the first baseman's head. And then we had a runner on 1st and 3rd, 2 outs, and a dude did like a swinging bunt, and I charged it, but the guy from 3rd was bolting home, and it's 2 outs, right? Like, you should probably go to 1st with it. But I was right there at home the guy was charging at home. It's like a for sure out. Like I'm gonna have to be an acrobat to grab it and chuck it, you know. So the catcher wasn't paying attention, and I underhanded it, and it just went off his chest protector because he wasn't paying attention. And they're like, "It's 2 outs, bro." I'm like, "Yeah." Also, you could just fucking caught the ball, you dumb fuck, and like tap the guy that's ran right into you. Whatever. So then they come me in the office, and they're like, "Hey, we think you got fucking great shit." Blah blah blah. This bullshit. And they sent me the Pecos League, and I remember the Pecos League, hearing about it because there's this guy. It kind of kick-started the indie ball thing. He used to hold those like workout tryouts for indie ball guys. He had one in Palm Springs. His name's Jerry Lehman. You know who he is?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
He runs like those. He has one of those teams that go to Vegas, like adult leagues. You know, that go for zinger bats and shit. You know what I'm talking
about? Yeah.
Like they go play in Arizona and shit and whatever. So he set me up with the Wild Things, and then I remember he had a bunch of guys because he had in California. You should. It's in OC. You should probably go if you want innings or whatever. But he created almost like a Sunday league, but only for indie ball guys.
Oh, okay.
So everybody there is plays in the Frontier League, American Association, somewhere, and I remember all these guys that like sucked were like, "Yeah, I just got signed." I'm like, "What? Who the fuck signed you?" And then they're like, "Oh yeah, this Pecos League." So I just remember hearing this Pecos League, and who was going, and I was just like, "Fuck that!" So I cried when I got sent to Pecos League. I was like, "Fuck this! I'm going back home. I'm gonna go, work out for someone else. This is stupid." And then my pitching coach, like my mentor, told me just fucking shove, just go there and put your head down, shove, and you'll be out of there in no time. Which I did. My biggest regret was not staying to start the All-Star game. That would have been great. One of my teammates got picked up by the D-backs out of there, and
I remember
then he got popped.
I remember the guy for that All-Star game and stuff.
Yeah, then he got popped for D-ball after that. And then then I went to San Angelo, and the reason why I chose it was like the dumbest reason ever. Like, what do I know? Doc Edwards is the manager. Play with like Mickey Mantle with the Yankees. So I got persuaded to go there by all my people that are advising me. But I'm in the middle of nowhere, man. You have to fly into Odessa, Texas, and then drive 2 hours to get there. What scout, unless you're throwing fucking 100 and just making all this racket, who's gonna go watch that shit?
Yeah.
Whereas you can fly in El Paso very easily and go watch a game in the Pecos League. I didn't think like that. I thought, this is the Pecos League. Who the fuck's gonna come fucking hear about me here? But actually, a handful of affiliate teams were calling Elmer Fudd based off my stats. And then I was like, fuck this. I was so bitter that I wanted to leave. So I went and took that San Angelo gig, and then the wind blows out. I had all these veterans that were kind of rattling me, because I didn't like to throw before the games. If I didn't play in the game, I wouldn't shower. They would fucking give me shit on that. Give me shit on wearing a V-neck or skinny jeans. So much shit. So, like, it kind of threw me off my game a little bit. Then I completely tore my lat. Like, literally, I did it a little bit one game, and then another game, I just completely tore. Like, I woke up, couldn't even put my hand in my back pocket. It was like, so I went home early. But my roommate there, this guy, John Edwards, you know who that is?
No.
He's the only big leaguer to come out of the Pecos League.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's my roommate, and he used to be, I think he was a prospect at one time for the Cardinals as a hitter, and then gets released after his 4th or 5th year with the Cardinals, and then it ends up in San Angelo, and just sucks. He just yipped up as a hitter, just not good. But he's got a great arm. So they're like, hey, he's like 6'6", 6'7", like just big, blonde, God bless you type of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he gets released, and they're like, hey, we're gonna let you throw a bullpen, and if it goes well, we'll sign you as a pitcher. So he throws, and he's like, I think he was like 90 to 92 in the bullpen. So he's sitting in the living room after he gets re-signed. He's like, you know what? I don't think it's in God's plan. They want to send me to the Pecos League in Las Cruces, and I don't think it's in the cards. I really don't want to pitch this or that or whatever. He goes there after 2 weeks. He's up to 95, and the Rangers fucking sign him out of the Pecos League. And then I'm in San Angelo. No, not San Angelo. In Amarillo, 2014, in the shower watching the Rangers game, and I hear straight from the Pecos League making his major league debut, John Edwards. I almost ate shit in the shower. Like I was like, oh, fuck, this piece of shit didn't want to pitch. Didn't want to go to the Pecos League. Didn't want to do any of it, and fucking is making his big league debut. 2 years later, 3 years later, and I'm over here fucking wanting it too bad, and just fucking up because I want it so bad. Yeah. So I was like, yeah. But anyways, that's the Pecos League.
That's awesome, man. I actually, like I said, I know I knew you. Like I know I've seen you throw. Like it's just crazy how small the world. You and I were texting about that. How small the world is of baseball, and when guys move it around and everything, it's just nuts.
Yeah, I didn't realize how tiny it was really till I got to Mexico. Then I realized how really tiny baseball world is. And then when I came up to Washington, and then Andy Cisco walked in, I'm like, the fuck, weren't you in Wasabe? And he goes, yeah. And like, in 2012, I wasn't like no big name or anything, so by any means. So like, he probably didn't remember me or whatever, but I remember him because he's a 6'10", fucking lefty. So then he's like, yeah, and then like we started shooting shit, and then next you know, he's like, oh yeah, I know John Weber. I'm like, no fucking shit. It's just weird. I'm in Washington, Puyallup, Washington. How the fuck? I didn't ever think I was gonna run into someone that like had anything to do with Mexico. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Now we got guys that are driveline guys that are on Mexicali right now. So I was like, what? It's just weird. Because I had thought at that point, I was just like, it's so foreign. It's like, how would anybody, be like that? But then you start to realize that, guys go over there for extra income, or once they're, they get fizzled out. For most guys, it's difficult to just stick to indie ball when they get out of affiliated ball because you don't make no money. So it's like a catch-22 though. Like if you go to Mexico, you're basically writing yourself off, or you're really catapulting yourself. Like what's his face, Gonzalez on the White Sox?
I don't know.
Yeah, the guy that does Splitter, the Mexican guy.
Oh,
he doesn't throw that hard. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He was on the Orioles.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about though. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, he had similar route as me. The trajectory I was on, that was one of the reasons why I was kind of like, fuck it, yeah, I'll go stay in Mexico or whatever. But he went and just dominated the LMP for like 2 seasons and just put up numbers, and then got picked up finally.
Oh, Hector.
But he was shoving.
Hector Gonzalez. Yeah. Hector.
He was shoving
with the Red
consistently.
Sox.
What?
Yeah, he's with he made his big league debut with the Red Sox. I played against him last year.
No.
I'm sorry. You're talking about two different guys. I'm thinking of the righty. But yeah, it's different. It's a different lefty.
No, this guy's a righty, but he was on the Orioles, and then now he's on the White Sox. I'm pretty sure his last name's Gonzalez. Anyways, but he's born in the States. So he went, I think, in Mexicali, but then he got picked up out of Mazatlan. And anyways, but I don't know, I got impatient, and then if you're a Mexican and you're playing in the winter, they expect you to sign with whatever summer team that GM has affiliation with, so they could have control completely. But then I would always because I was getting advised by Oscar Villarreal to hold it out. He goes, hey man, you got good shit. If you stop thinking so much, and be consistent, it's better to go suck it up, don't make any money in indie ball, and it'll be quicker. It's like they could just acquire you, and you could be in a city in a day. If you go to Yucatan or Cancun, you better fucking literally put some Pecos League numbers up, and don't get hurt. But then even then they got to sell you for 75%.
Yeah.
They keep 75%, so you're fucked. So I remember because like there was a little bit of hype in 2012 when I was going over there, because I had ended up there on accident, and I shoved in the playoffs for the Norte, and then that's when they drafted me for the LMP, and then I had a little hype. Then I got yipped up when I was like when I saw all the production.
Yeah.
I got really yipped up, and I saw these big leaguers rolling in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I overthought it and put too much pressure on it, and then it ended up being like mop up, and then until I had a really amazing game against Wasave at their place, like shove dick, like make Calabello look like a bitch. And then who's that big ginormous Mexican guy? He's like 6 foot.
Hafet Amador.
Yeah, I fucking own some golden sombrero. I fucking shoved dick, dude. And then I shoved so much dick that they're like, fuck this. They're like, Casillas is gonna start the next series against Culiacan, and I butthole went. Nothing to lose. I was like coming in the fourth, like I actually lucked into it. I was like very like the catcher that I had was what was it, Paez? You know that?
Yeah.
Bald.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that guy, man. And he was like such a good mentor, and he's like calming and soothing, and like made me feel comfortable all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas like the other catcher, forget his name. He was old, big leaguer, like bitter.
Amezcua?
Like, no, he was on the Orioles for a long time in the big leagues.
Yeah, I
from Oaxaca.
It's from Oaxaca. Yeah.
He's old.
Yeah.
Big ass dude.
Yeah.
Anyways, he was just zero sympathy for scared fucking Pocho, man.
Yeah.
And so I did not do good. But with Paez came in that game, and then I just shoved dick because he knew the right cues to calm me down and bring me back. And then the next outing, I remember Villarreal in the group huddle when the pitching coach said Casillas got the ball game 2 with Culiacan. He goes, "You scared?" And I was just like, No, I'm not scared. But I was. And I remember I walked the first 3 guys, then struck out Marlon Byrd. It was like anytime Byrd or Corey Eldridge would come up to bat, I didn't have the yips. Like I just fucking attacked the shit out of them. Because I didn't like their titles. Like that's when I started to realize that the yips weren't controlled by who's up to bat or any of this. It was my focus. My focus was on so many other things other than competing. And then with those guys, I had no problem. And then so I ended up walking 6 dudes in 2 innings, and then they took me out. I only gave up 1 run though. Yeah, that's the funny thing. Walked 6 dudes. Yeah, struck whatever. So yeah. Anyways, enough of the tangent of Mexico. We'll probably get into that later.
Yeah, you and I could probably do that forever, considering like that you're the next closest person that I could like have real conversations with and be like, you don't understand. Like so did you play in the new stadium in Culiacan or the old one?
I think it was the old one, because 2013 I went in and I just came off probably the best start, the most consistent I've ever pitched in my entire life. And the only thing I regret is when I pulled myself. It was the American Association following that 2012 in Mexico, the first season in Mexico, and I was just shoving. Like it literally, when I think about those games, there was only like 5 games that I really just shoved, and then I pulled the back of my shoulder, took 5 days off, went to go play catch. My elbow felt like someone just put Fernando Rodney's huge. That's why you see me put Fernando. That's how it started.
Yeah.
Literally feel like Fernando's big dick is just like in my elbow.
Yeah.
And I just panicked. I was just like, okay, I'm 27. I figured it out, right? I figured it out how to compete, how to be consistent. All my shit's nasty. My velo's fucking through the roof. I'm not gonna, I'm about to go to winter ball. I thought that season, like I'll go look at my goals and like everything was happening like I wanted it. I like it was like weird to say because like it sounds so crazy, but like I literally felt like by the end of that year, 2013, I'd be in the big leagues. Like I was so focused in that, and I was throwing through bicep tendonitis. Like it didn't bother me, but when that fucking when I heard a in the back of my shoulder, I got a little scared. And then I forced it. That's when David Peralta was still in Indie Ball. It was his last season in Indie Ball before he got picked up by the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I remember facing Amarillo, and I really wanted to shove it up Amarillo's ass because they were the best team at the time. And I didn't do good. I only lasted 4 innings opening day against them, and I was all yipped up. And then I finally, think my shit don't stink. And I forced it. Like, I could feel, like, like, if you've ever tweaked the back of your shoulder, like you're throwing, it doesn't matter how warm you get. It just feels like someone's fingers back there.
Yeah.
And I just forced it, man. And then I couldn't even think. Like, I was just constantly thinking about my shoulder, like, every pitch, and didn't do good. And I heard there was a shit ton of scouts in the stands that day.
Yeah.
Because I just came off 2 straight outings of striking out 9 guys and going 7 innings. And got up to 97 against St. Paul's, up to 96, and then I touched 97 various times in Wichita. And I didn't want to miss that window because I was like, first quarter of the season, if you blow noise, you will get out. So I could taste it and forced it, and then ultimately just packed my shit. Mexicali wanted me to go to the Norte and TJ for the playoffs. I was like, why am I going here? I drove 14 hours straight, get there, and I'm like, why am I here, man? I told the GM, I don't want to name names or, but I told the GM, I was just like, yo, man, my shoulder feels like shit, or my elbow feels like shit at the time. He goes, it's all good, just come. I was like, what? It's like, I'll pay you still. I was like, what? All right. So I go, and he goes, he thought I needed like an extra couple of days.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't. He's like, what? Oh, you can't pitch at all? Why are you here then? I'm like, bro, I just drove 14 hours from El Paso to TJ, bro. What the fuck are you doing? Yeah. And then so I go home, and my elbow feels like shit. I'm like, what? I was on the top of the world, and then now I'm just like, well, 2013's over.
Yeah.
I was kind of depressed, to be honest with you, but like I had so much left over from that DGAF that clicked in my head and all that winter ball experience that I got because I felt like I leaped over, like I was like mentally like Pecos League arriving into Mexicali, and when I left, I felt like I was all of Oscar Villarreal and Jorge Campillo's wisdom just got embedded into my brain because they were with me like all the time.
Yeah.
And it helped so much. Like it literally was like total immersion where every shagging session, every dinner, every party in Mazatlan, all that, those fools were like, I don't know if the GM was telling them to do it or what, but they were on me. And then I think it was because I pinched my shoulder. I was second half of 2012. Something clicked because after that horrible start at Culiacan, they pulled me off to the side and like, yo, man, you've been here for half a season. You haven't figured shit out, Like I was still long tossing thinking that was the answer.
Yeah.
But really, that was just stretching my arm out. I wasn't getting better at pitching. So then I bought in, showed up early, started crushing stuff. And the next thing you know, I started fucking shoving. Like in the 7th inning, I would be the dude, for the second half. Pinched my shoulder. made the playoff roster, but I couldn't do it because I just couldn't pitch. I couldn't throw. Like, I couldn't lift my arm up. But they said, hey, just stay, and I'll still pay you. You could travel with us if you want, or you could go home and then just come for the home games. So I did that. I got paid for all 3 series of the playoffs, and I wasn't even playing.
Sick.
It was fucking tight.
Yeah, they do. They definitely take care of you. That's what I noticed on there in the LMP, as opposed to the summer league. Like, they kept guys around who were off the roster. One of my good friends right now, his name's Jake Fox, big leaguer, Cubs. He played all over the place, but catcher, outfielder, and guy, like, they bring him in to be like the heart of the locker room, because when we were in there in Mochi's, it was it was just cliquey. You got how that gets sometimes in there. Not too many guys trying to get things together. We didn't have too many big league guys, but just seemed like everybody was on their own agenda. Well, he shows up halfway through the season, and it's just like...
Was our bio on your team in Mochi's then?
Yeah. Julian Arbayo, yeah, he's a good buddy of mine too, yeah. It was before, I don't know if you heard, he had his elbow cleaned out. He's on the shelf right now.
Yeah, he told me, when I first went to Mexicali and then Norte, he was on that Augie Lucho's team. No, he wasn't on the Augie Lucho's team, was he? Yeah, maybe he was. Him and what's his face, Sanchez.
Yeah.
Sanchez is a beast now, bro. He got his elbow. Yeah, I didn't even.
He had the same thing in me. He fractured his elbow.
Yeah, he was throwing like fucking upper 80s and just like, those 2 guys are playing on that like adult team that they scrimmage, or they do game, they play games against Mexicali in like the preseason.
Yeah, so they can get extra reps and
Yeah, I remember seeing him like I saw Arbayo pitch, and I was like, oh, this guy's pretty good for this this adult league or whatever. I was like, this is pretty good. And then I really got to know him in Centinelas. I was in Centinelas. So yeah, he's a good buddy of mine.
So do you remember playing Rosarito?
Yeah, so like the first.
That was the team I was on.
Oh really? In 2012?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I pitched in Rosarito, because the first game I pitched was I met them in Tecate.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this garbage?
Tecate. That field was unbelievable, huh?
I was waiting for I had to wear the starting pitcher from yesterday's hat for my start.
Yeah.
And then the second start was in Ensenada. No, not Rosarito. It was Ensenada.
Ensenada,
yeah. That's where my second start was. And then when I got there and I saw the Coca-Cola Tecate girls and the fucking fans and like a nicer facility, I was like, I could pitch here. This is cool.
Yeah.
This is best environment I ever pitched in at that time. So I was like, this is cool. And then and then that we lost the second game. The second game, I pitched the first game. I pitched the second game. We lost the third game, so we were out or whatever. We didn't keep going. And then from there, then I ended up in LMP or whatever. But I did play again. I did pitch against Rosarito when I was in the Centinelas.
So did you go to Rosarito?
Yeah, I did all right against them.
I tried to explain to people, because like I have buddies that I work with now here in San Diego that basically still play in Ensenada, and they're like, oh yeah, I hit a bomb off you, blah blah blah. I was like, if you hit a bomb off me in Rosarito, it was a 13U all dirt field that was 310 feet all the way around. You could get jammed, and it was on the you remember that road that was over there? You had that brick wall, and then on the road, like, people would just launch balls over that thing. It's just absolutely ridiculous, as far as like how far you could hit the ball and everything. But yeah, I mean, my first experience with that was just, what in the world is this? And I came from Santa Fe, where Santa Fe is 6,000 feet up, the ball flies in Santa Fe in the Pecos League, and then I go to that, and I'm like, I'm the same shit. I'm the exact same shit. This is no different. But somehow I nutted up,
Who's that big black dude that played in Asia and then that was on that team? He was a hitter.
Oh,
Big, tall first baseman.
God, we went through
Yeah,
so
big
many
league
guys
time,
that,
dude.
yeah. I don't remember what his name was.
Dude, that game, that's when I realized how stupid I was that whole offseason. Because the first outing, I was a little yipped up. I didn't think I was going to be yipped up. But because I walked away from LMP. I don't know why, man. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me. I walked away from LMP in 2013 so I could go fix my forearm flyout. So stupid. I think my GM about had it with me at that point because missed the playoffs because I had a pinched shoulder. All right, that's fine. Then go home early from indie ball, and they were in cahoots. Like the El Paso team in Mexicali was kind of like a feeder, kind of. Yeah. So then I leave early from there, and then I go to the playoffs. I'm like, yeah, I'm not pitching in your playoffs in Norte. So he's like, all right, another what the fuck, Casillas.
Yeah.
And then show up to preseason, the winter ball, and I just had it like I literally at that point just thought my shit didn't stink, which good because I did really good in the baseball fest. You know, in
TJ? The Mexican baseball fiesta.
Yeah. First outing, it might have been against Mochi's. I don't know. I just had a 1-2-3 inning at two Ks and a little dribbler at third baseman, like just shoved up to 93, which was good because my elbow felt like dick. So I was like, I feel good for preseason right now. I haven't really thrown since July, so I was like, I'm back to where I was. And then I got cocky and like we were in TJ and like this was a season where I was like, I'm just gonna have a good ass time. Wayne got wasted in TJ, and the next day I couldn't even function. When I went to go play catch, it literally like felt like someone just shattered my arm and then glued it all together, and then I had to like throw. Yeah. And it was weird because my arm felt great for that inning, and then I forced it again because I heard Brito was in the stands like while I was warming up, and it just was not getting loose, man, and my bicep was throbbing. Forced it, went out there. I was like, it'll loosen up in the game. Then it didn't. It was kind of a long inning. I kind of got hit around more than I got yipped, but like I just remember it pulsating so bad that when I walked off the field after I got out of the inning, I walked into the back screen of the stadium because I was like I was trying not to cry because it hurt so bad. Yeah. And then I went in there. And then my GM was just like, yo, man, why the fuck, like, why don't you just tell somebody that your arm didn't feel good? You fucking just wait till Arizona. Like, you don't need to pitch. You just pitched a day ago. Like, now I don't know if you're just saying that because you sucked or, I'm like, bro, look at the chart. I'm fucking topping out at 86. A day ago, I was up to 93. Fucking, whatever. Yeah. So now I'm back to being scared, and we're in Arizona, and I'm playing catch. Like, now back thinking about it, like, I've done velo days with that same amount of pain. I just didn't view it the same way. So I missed all of the preseason, started to play catch while we were there, and then opening day came around, and I did it again like a dumbass. Those guys, only the starters and people who are going to be playing in Obregon for opening day 2013, they took the bus from Arizona there, and then the other guys, the other starting pitchers and the guys that weren't playing, went to Mexicali to practice and do work or whatever. And then GM's like, yo, go get your rehab shit in and like throw your bullpen, whatever. I was like, all right. And I get there, I'm like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to go to LA, and then I'll meet you guys back on opening day. And then he calls me opening day and goes, hey, I'm gonna send you to Veracruz, and if it goes well, prove that you're healthy, and then we'll bring you back. And I just felt like the same feeling from the Pecos League thing.
In the Veracruzana?
Yeah, I didn't go though.
Oh, I was in that too.
Yeah,
that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, he called me and he goes, I'm in LA, right? So my dumbass, I probably wouldn't have got that phone call, or if I would have just stayed in Mexicali. But I think that was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Mm-hmm.
then my buddy and roommate Edgar Gomez was like had a really good spring. So like all these young kids were actually doing really, really well. I'm over there like, oh, my arm, when really I didn't really have it. Now after training for so long and fighting through pain, that was so dumb. And I told him when he called me, I was like, you know what, man? I think that I know how to fix this, and going to play in the Veracruz League is not the way to do it. I'm going to go to Houston, train at the baseball ranch, and fix this forearm flyout that's causing all my problems, and then I'm going to come back better than ever. But in reality, if he would have told me just nothing, and I would have just showed him back up to Mexicali, I would have ended up throwing through it and been fine. But I think I was very embarrassed because I had some hoopla in 2012 a little bit, and then I was the novato that was coming in fresh face, that's gonna fucking make noise, threw hard and all this shit. So that, and then having such a great kickoff to 13, and then just getting beat down, show up, have a great baseball fest preseason where everyone's talking, damn, Casillas, he's different now, and then you're going to Veracruz. I just felt like I was better. I was just embarrassed. So I was like, fuck that. I'm going to go fix this shit. I'm going to sit 97 with Ron Wolforth, and then all my problems will be solved. And then, yada, yada, yada. So then, sure enough, obviously no phones ring for 2014 kickoff season. So I call Mexicali, and I'm like, hey, I need a place to pitch. And they're like, all right, well, the only place I got for you is Centinelas. I'm like, what the? I'm like, fine. I get there, and the fact that some of the kids knew who I was from the LMP, like the 18-year-olds on the team,
yeah,
I was more embarrassed. And the fact that I saw our bio there, and he saw me in 2012 when I was in the big team, and I felt like I got demoted.
Yeah.
And that I was washed up, this weird feeling. And I just remember first day of playing catch in where's that in where was the team in next door, next Cali? Not Tecate, the other one.
San Luis.
Yeah. We were there playing catch. No, it was Ensenada, I think. Yeah, first series of Ensenada. We'll go over there to play catch. I'm so yipped, bro. I don't know where it came from, but it was just, I just remember being just really embarrassed and trying to feel like a veteran, but I just was embarrassed to be there, just the whole thing. So anyways, again, long story short, got released from there, and that's how I ended up in Driveline. And then I got an offer to play for the Pericos, and Puebla said no.
Still can.
Yeah.
Still can. They're taking Pochos anytime you want, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So my own fear of getting injured just really fucked a lot of shit up.
Okay, so I'm gonna take that, what you just said right there, because of everything you told me. I learned something after, and some of the people that follow this and know me, I broke my elbow my senior year of college, didn't throw for 3 years, and
Where'd you go to college?
I went to the University of West Florida in Pensacola and got semi-yipped up myself from my coach there, simply on the fact of I really enjoyed throwing and training, and went, in the college summer, went and played in the Jayhawk League, went and played in the Valley League, did really well, got my velo up, had really good games, and was able to get some attention and had some people following me. But I get back from those things, and my coach is telling me, look, I've been there, you got to stop throwing, you got to shut it down, you've thrown too much. And I'm like, all right, this guy knows, but not listening to my body. Going my arm feels fine. You can't tell me I'm tired. I'm throwing pen. I'm still throwing cheddar in the pen. It's not coming out weak. I'm not missing. Nothing hurts. Okay, let's listen to this guy, So I take all those life experiences and stuff, and I got some family that are physical therapists, and I kind of developed this thing where after talking to my uncle, who used to be a physical therapist for the Braves AAA up in Virginia, I don't remember what city over there in Virginia. Anyway, I start kind of developing this thing like, well, when I don't throw, like my arm feels terrible. Like it doesn't stay loose, but when I throw all the time, my arm feels great. Like I'm looking at the summer, like we're playing, summer college ball, college. So you might play 4 games a week, maybe three games a week. Some of them are going to be double headers, stuff like that. And so I start going like, okay, I start doing some research online and start going from there. And I'm saying that when I throw more often, my arm feels loose and I'm gaining where I want. I wasn't long tossing it as often. I'm starting on these teams. And so I kind of developed this theory in my head after talking to my uncle, after doing research, that after like 7 days, the elasticity of tendons and muscles of not being used start to shrink, right? So I take this information that I remember after listening to my coach, after throwing a pitch, breaking my elbow, rehabbing all the way back, 2 different surgeries, and now even to this day, in 6 years, I have not stopped throwing in 6 years, more than 6 days. And the 6 days are actually, I got stuck in Mexico City where my bags got sent to TJ, and I'm literally stuck because the plane breaks down, and then things are overbooked. I'm in a hotel. They change, people who've ever been to the Mexico City airport, they could change you from one side to the other, and you would just not know. There's no app update. The stuff is never correct on the screens. You're staring, and it said you're going to whatever gate 37, but it says, instead of saying Tijuana, it might say Jalisco or Cancun on it. And you're like, well, is this the right one? You got to go double check 4 or 5 times. So I think there's a big difference in, and this is what I want to, with your experience, I wanted to compare with you. I think there's a huge difference in playing catch, max effort throwing, long toss, and pitching. And I think where I haven't stopped throwing in 6 years, it would literally be playing catch. Like even my post day, like you were just talking about with your elbow pain, I play catch, even if it's like doing lessons throwing BP, where it's like under 50% throwing and maybe for 10 minutes. I think that value to my arm is really what's able to, like we were talking about. I went 9 innings in TJ yesterday, threw 140 pitches, and was throwing harder in the 9th inning than I was in the 1st inning because, I turned my brain off, was able to throw cheddar. So what do you think about that process? Because, I see a lot of people say you got to rest, and I think there is a point of that, but I think just in my own experience of like, not having, dude, I threw 140 pitches yesterday and I'm good. Like today, I'll be fine. I'm going to go throw some BP to some guys, work on some dudes in just a minute, work on some velo, plyo-care stuff. And I could if I absolutely had to, like let's say Game 7 World Series right now. By the way, how do you not start Kershaw if he was ever going to pitch? We'll leave that later though. Like, I could go Game 7. Yeah, I could give you 1 or 2 today if I really absolutely had to. So what do you think with your experience in the training and the research and the stuff that you've done? Have you heard anything like that? Is that something that sounds semi-okay, or what do you think? Because I think listening to your body and everybody's different is really one of the things, but that side of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, a trainer I had in high school is named Glenn Reyes, and I honestly think if you would have stuck to it, because there was a weird shift in baseball training when I entered college. He was a pioneer, man. He was training Delman Young when Delman Young was on the cover of Sports Illustrated in 9th grade. He was training him all throughout high school. He had all the big leaguers. He had Carl Pavano, and Carl Pavano got his $20 million contract, all this shit. Anyways, but he would always tell me, get homeschooled, just train. Get homeschooled, just train. He would tell me, and it was like too far ahead of everything. And the way he was training guys looked ridiculous if you didn't know what Soviet, Soviet training looked like for sprint athletes and throwers and all this, because you're doing gnarly shit. Like even to this day, it looks gnarly. It's too advanced for a lot of people to wrap their head around. But he was getting results. He was making people fast and whatever. But he would tell me, rest is atrophy, and I can't stop. once you build it. And then Kyle, his first T-shirt he had was on the back of it said "Rest is atrophy." Now that's not saying you don't take after a full season. You don't take 2 weeks off. I know Bauer always takes 2 weeks off for his arm and then 2 weeks off maybe for his brain. Just to kind of be excited about it again. But in 2.5 years, I only took off a total of maybe 6 weeks when I was training, maybe. And I feel it, man. Like, I haven't thrown in almost a year now. It's not quite a year yet, but I felt it after like 2 or 3 months of not throwing from doing it for so long that just whipping the ball without, throwing a rock or, going to the carnival, like, my arm felt terrible. And before that, I would always take big, long periods off of throwing because, I was under the impression that if your arm felt like shit, you were doing something wrong. So I thought that you could throw for hours without it ever feeling bad if you did it right, if you stayed relaxed or whatever, which is kind of bullshit. But I would throw 2-hour bullpens with my old pitching coach and like be fine the next day, like, and max effort too, like not any. But anyways, I think that it's very important to not stop. I did also learn that in Mexico because I remember I'm like, how am I going to keep throwing? My arm felt like dick first half of that season when I was all yipped up, and then all of a sudden I got this second wind where my arm felt great. It was very weird. And that was the first time I played like 2 seasons, completely. So I think that it's one of those things, if you don't use it, you lose it. So I think that now people mistake that is you could play light catch, take 2 weeks off of absolutely nothing after a full year of throwing, but then you just do light catch and you on-ramp yourself back up to max effort, but you don't stop the throwing. You could maybe dwindle it down at twice a week, 3 times a week, but you don't stop moving,
Yeah,
like,
I think that's exactly what I'm saying about that, because that's where,
yeah.
Is that's where I've noticed the biggest gains in myself as well as the guys that I'm training over here in San Diego is like, especially with college guys, for example, we have that 3.5 week break where school's out, the coaches shut it down, and they give you your training and your throwing program, but how honest are you with it and everything? And they told me at that time, that year that I got hurt in college, was like, hey, we want you to stop. Like, they shut me down from like November into January and then started me back up. And I'm hitting the gym, doing everything, and then looking back on it, yeah, I'm getting the gym, getting stronger, things are getting tighter, but I'm not keeping the elasticity of the arm by throwing, by keeping the motion like we're talking about, maybe playing catch, medium to light catch, nothing crazy with that. So, that's something that I really emphasize, like, especially like some kids that go out and throw, even if if you're on ramping your innings and everything you're doing, I go, here's what's going to suck. The next day, it is highly important that you go out and play catch maybe to 60 or 70 feet for 10 to 15 minutes at under 50%. And it's going to suck for those first throws, right? But I promise you, 10 to 15 minutes in, you're going to throw, and then you're going to start feeling things loosen up. And as long as you don't push it, once you get to that point and you shut it down, you're going to feel so much better that following day, and you're going to be able to cut that recovery time down. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that, like, for me, after a start, when I was really yipped up, meaning like, I did fine those pro seasons where I call it yipped up, but I was throwing strikes. I was just walking maybe, four to every 9, or no, 4 to 6 per 9. I think it was more like 6 when I was yipped up, but I mean, that's not terrible, I made up for it with like strikeouts, whatever. But like at that point, I felt like I couldn't miss a day of throwing afterwards. So I kind of like do too much, like, because I was trying to prove it to myself that my shit was on point. And then my arm would always feel like shit, then as I got a little bit savvier, I was like, I would trust more. My shit's already there, so I would do stuff more to make my arm recover, so I could get ready to perform in the game. So after a start, I knew for me, if I threw past a certain point, it would start getting achy, and I would just try to keep it never from getting achy, because then it'll fucks up the recovery for me. So I would do very light, band stuff. If I felt like pretty sore that day a little bit, I wouldn't even throw. I would just do wrist weights. I would do reverse throws. I would do bands. I would lift, and then that would be my recovery for the day. And then the next day I would do a light catch, see where I want to go out to, and then the next day I'd throw a little pen, and then I'd take the next day completely off, and then I'd be ready to go for max effort again in the game. But that's in season. In training, I literally, maybe I only throw if I'm really hanging after a tough velo day. You gotta be able to be flexible and creative within the compounds of the structure. Like your recovery day might state X amount of throws, but if your shit is fucking hanging that day, you don't stop moving. You still do some of it. You may taper down the amount of sets or reps or the weight of the implements you're using, or maybe you only do the warm-up routine that day and then you shut it down. You got to listen to your body to some degree. You can't just bull nose. It's a real fine line between being an idiot and being a bitch, basically. And I think people just, the takeaway here is don't stop moving. Don't, if it do what you can do. Don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do, given the circumstances. And I think that's the key to recovering quicker, and keeping your arm feeling pretty good. And I took that same approach when I messed up my SI joint. I was like hip thrusting, like, I don't know, like some 6 plates or something stupid. I have a video of it on my Instagram. And I just extended too far one time, and I pinched it. Oh my god, I couldn't even sit in my car. I had to walk around with a powerlifting belt on. I'd have to hold my breath to sit down. It was bad. I developed migraines from it. And I remember normally the old approach would be like, all right, fucked up my back. I'm just going to chill and not do anything until it goes away, and then I'll start the process. The problem with that is you just atrophied everything. Now you got to start from ground zero.
Yeah.
Where this time I was like, fuck this shit. I'm going to attack this shit head on. I'm going to do what I can do. So I started doing rack pulls with only like a 10 on each side, then a 25 on each side. I did box squats with like a high box with just kettlebells. I did everything that I was doing before, but what I could tolerate.
Yeah.
When I messed up the back of my elbow, I would do like 30 to 50% effort blue ball, because that's the only one that didn't really bother me that much, and I would just do like hundreds of them at very low intensity, and then within a few days, it cut the lag time of injury down by half, I would say. And when I was feeling normal again, I didn't need a build up again. I didn't miss a step because I didn't stop moving. I was maintaining to some degree what I already had.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so let's move on to some of my favorite stuff here. Now, like I was saying before, when I found some of your stuff, I reached out to you. The internet is being an amazing thing, a resource and stuff, but you started going on these rants maybe a year ago. I'm not quite sure when really you started or not, but it was Fernando. It was even before Fernando. I remember there was just some stuff where it was just degaff life and just like things that basically you would see online that you have way more balls than I do to actually just get in, just let it. I mean, I would do it, but I would just be like, locker room or at a facility or whatever, and be like, dude, did you see this? Like, like we were talking about before, I was just saying, like, if you were going to throw Kershaw at all, how do you not start him? I don't understand. Like, I get
Yeah.
it, rotation day, blah, 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 but so the rants, like, do you have like a specific incident that really just where what kicked it off, and because it obviously felt good because you still do them, you keep going through. Did I lose you, by the way?
No.
Oh, okay, cool. I just noise cut out in the background. Um, what do you feel like? What do you feel like? What was the birth of the rants? Because if you guys haven't seen the rants, they're amazing. Like, I hope you have all of those saved as well. Because those should be on YouTube immediately.
I don't have them all saved because I don't like the way it looks up and down. So I have a lot of DGAF calls, and I have some rants saved. I'll get DMs and be like, "Can you save that and send it to me?" So then I'll save it and send it. But I don't know that I can recreate the rants. I mean, it's not on the fly like a rant is, but it'll come back to me. The same things that bother me are probably going to bother me for a very long time. I don't see them being solved anytime soon. So, anyways, my other Instagram, I used to when I moved up to Washington and all that stuff. I would post all my training and I would post all this stuff and like get like 25 likes. And mind you, on a selfie, I get like 200 likes on that one because it's like friends, families, stuff like that. So they're like, okay, cool. So unless you really, really, really know me and know what I'm doing and like me, like you'll like it just like because you're like, what are you posting this for? It didn't really make sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then so I got this nickname Flama. I didn't like it at all. I don't like La Flama Blanca, which that was the original one, and then slowly I dropped the La, and then I kept Flama Blanca, and now it's just Flama, and then that's it. So I remember Kyle Bodie was like, oh no, this guy Christian Meister, who was with the Indians, he's in Australia pitching right now in the ABL. He found out I played in Mexico. He's like, oh, like Kenny Powers? And I was like, nah, man, the fuck, I'm actually Mexican. It'd be funny if I was a white dude and like went down there. Yeah, okay. And then it just like, well, oh shit, the blah blah blah, and then like everybody just erupts laughing. And I'm like over here, my dad used to call me El Matador when I was a little kid as a pitcher. So I got Matador on my glove. Like I'm just like, I'm Matador, like I'm gonna get to the big leagues and they're gonna call me El Matador. They're gonna play the Matador music. I'm gonna come out. Like I had it in my head already. These fuckers are throwing salt on it, calling me Flama Blanca. I just picture Jerry curls and some cheesy Joe.
And a donkey.
I was getting so mad. And then Kyle was like, I'll make a deal with you. Because throwing gas on an indoor mound is very difficult. It's more so for pros than it is for younger guys. But anyways, he's like, throw 96 off the indoor mound or 100 with the 5-ounce, 6 or 7, whichever one comes first. Because I used to suck at pulling down really bad. And my first pull down day was like 87, and the same day the mound was 95. So go figure. So he goes, whichever one comes first, I'll give it to you. And I'll call you whatever you want. And then I remember I pulled down 100 with the 6-ounce, and then he goes, all right, fuck it, Matador or whatever your name is, And at that point, I'm like, it's already been like 2 months, Flama. So just like, you know what? If I ever did make it to the big leagues, and I'm coming out of the gate, and then Vin Scully, it goes, oh yeah, his father used to call him El Matador, but up in Washington, they call him Flama Blanca. I'm gonna lose. Like everyone's just gonna call me
Yeah.
Flama, you know. So
Yeah.
I was like, whatever, I'll just go with it. And then, you know, meanwhile, no one's liking my shit, and it's kind of, I felt like annoying. But that's all. That's what my life had become. Now was baseball, like training all the time. So I was like, I'm just gonna make a mock, like make fun of myself almost, and start an Instagram that's just, you know, my style, Flama's style, and then I started posting videos of what I was doing, and then I started, you know, I didn't have that many followers at the time, but every single person that followed me at that time DM me about it. So I'd wake up to like 50 to 100 people asking me something about, because I was really detailed on what the fuck I was thinking or doing on the video. And then I started to be like, oh fuck, like I have a community now that like gives a fuck about these videos, and that's really what my overall purpose was for baseball. Big picture was to, you know, impact and help change stuff and be of service almost. So I just got addicted to it, right? And then I started asking my influencer friends that have, you know, make a ton of money off social media. So then I started, you know, diving in, but then I started my mentorship thing. Well, first I started selling lifting programs, because at that time Driveline didn't offer a lifting program. So I was obsessed with powerlifting. I was like, literally, I would go to bed at like 6 in the morning every day watching bench, squat, deadlift videos. I would literally probably overdid it. I got really, really strong, really, really fast. I was obsessed. Anyways, so did that. Next, you know, I got little clientele going, and I started the mentoring part of it, and then I started doing Driveline's affiliate thing with the promo code, and I made a good amount of money with that. And then it just, like, for how small of a following I had, I think I had like 1,500 people, but all those people were paying attention really closely at that time. And then I tried to grow it, and then my rental real estate kind of took over, and I was making good money with the real estate. So then I took off the promo code. I got a deal with A7 Fitness at that time, and that was like 3 years ago. Now I'm thinking about it, and I just kind of took my foot off the gas. Like I was like, you know, fuck this. You know, I was too busy with the rental thing. I was like, pays way better than fucking training some J-Brones. So, I don't know, I just took my foot off, and then the rant started off Snapchat. I had a Snapchat, and it was called Truth Bombs at the time. So I was just like, Truth Bombs! And then I would just shit on people, or shit on someone, or get some pussy-ass question I got. And at that time, people were like, coming at me, like if I said something, they would try to talk shit or combat me, and I would just destroy them. Then I don't know if people got scared or they just agree with me all of a sudden, because no one talked shit to me really. Yesterday, someone kind of tried to talk shit to me, but then when I revealed what I meant, he kind of backed off and kind of agreed too. So I don't know. So that's how it started. And me and Kyle would do these truth bombs, and we'd be sitting in our car driving, and then just giving facts about like reality. And then, you know, guys really liked those truth bombs. I was just talking shit because it was funny in the car, you know.
Exactly. That's what I found on it. I was just like, I saw
Yeah.
it for what it was. Like it was like almost a WWE character situation of like, we're gonna take this, you know, almost like you to me, like I explained it some way, like I hope you take this as a compliment, but you were like a baseball Ric Flair for me, like of what was going on, like just going in, like high riding alligator, like you just and I was just like, dude, this guy is captivating. I just remember, as I honestly remember, there was a specific moment. I'm in the sauna after a good gym session, feeling good, and I think either the Instagram stories had just started or the Snapchat. I don't remember which one, or maybe
Yeah,
even put it directly on it. I don't remember what it was, but I just remember being like,
yeah, at that time there was no Snapchat stories, and I had my Snapchat. My Snapchat, I didn't know because I'm stupid. That Snapchat is directly connected to your phone number, so people could, add you or whatever without you, even telling them you have one. So all of a sudden, all these normal people that are in my network of friends started following me and adding me, and I'm over here truth bombs like, you fucking pussy Fernando this, like, degaff that, and they're like, what are you talking about? Shut up. And I'm like, fuck, and like too many. Like I'm talking about, like, I got like 1,200 people that weren't baseball related, like paying attention, and it just killed it. Like then I started talking about, like, it made me filter myself a little bit much. So I started a different Snapchat. Doesn't have the same thing. The other one was getting like 900 views on every truth bomb, and then the new one gets like 200. And I don't even like Snapchat. I kind of use it just to kind of like talk shit to people, like in secret. Like I'll send my assistant a fucking screenshot of his dirty shoes on the carpet when he's supposed to be the example of the house of like picking shit up, stuff like that. But yeah, that's where Truth Bomb started. And if you think about it, I mean, that's how I look at it. Is Flama is not me. It's not me as Alex Casillas, or like how The Rock is The Rock, and then there's Dwayne Johnson. Like, there's two different people. It's a character. It's an alter ego that allows you to be who you need to be in order to get where you want to go, because who you really are is really not equipped to do what you need to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's important to do the alter ego. My alter ego, that 2013 season was Matador. I finally stepped into that, what the vision I had of what Matador was. But I thought that Alex was Matador, but Alex, David, whatever, what isn't Matador. Flama and Matador are like the same thing, and it's that savage performer, the one that goes, nothing personal, just business. And I could never do that because I'd be too nice, or people pleaser, or I don't want them to miss out, or I don't want them to lose money, or I don't want them to look bad. But then Flama don't give a fuck if you look bad. As long as it's ethical, it's like, hey, I'm right. Go fuck yourself. Like, sorry, you just suck. Like, I can't help you. Like, and I would always have conflicting desires between the two worlds, and being able to create a character that I could just walk into and be when it called for it helps a lot. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like so your side of it and my, like, you actually helped me with that, with like being able to, like you said, like have an identity. I don't really have a name for that thing of what it is, but like mine's a little bit of the, I understand everybody wants to be a lion and everything, but I just got to the point,
Not everybody's a lion.
Yeah, well, that was the kind of a popular thing a while ago, where for me, even I don't know if I went one step further, but the analogy for me that worked was a little bit more of a shark. Like, if you stop swimming, you die, or, blood in the water. And I developed this thing where, like, when I would get on the mound, like, literally, like, I'd feel like my eyes would get bigger and my nose would start flaring, and I would just be like, how, like, it almost, if you stepped in the box, you disrespected me because you didn't know who I was just by stepping in the box and doing your thing like that you had a chance. Like, how dare you think that you are just I don't care who you are. I don't care what big league you came from. Like that, this just took over my head, where it was like, I had something to prove, not even to anybody, but like this inner demon inside of me, whatever that shark smell that came through. I had everybody has, I know you've done a lot of research and I have too. It seems like everybody has one acute incident or a section of their lives that really help them, go the other way. You got Michael Jordan getting cut from the basketball team, LeBron with the story with his mom and dad, Kobe with the whole overseas thing. There's a lot of things with the guys who've been the best of us. Kershaw's even had his issues with stuff in baseball, and for me it was very funny. I remember I have two distinct incidents. One I've been told twice by people in my amateur college baseball to stop playing the game. And one was the probably the most ridiculous thing anybody's ever heard was my junior college baseball coach told me that I was too smart to play baseball. And I couldn't process me at 19 going, what? What do you mean I'm too smart? He's like, yeah, man, you're good with computers. And I think I helped him with an Excel spreadsheet once or something. And like, it wasn't even a big deal. It was just like organizing a thing and then doing an alphabetical order. Like, there's buttons. Like, there wasn't even anything that I did anything special. Like, I didn't program shit or anything. It was just like, I took a class on it, and then, you know, I helped him organize some bullshit, you know, whatever it was. But he's like, yeah, you're going to cost yourself millions of dollars to play the game. You know, and it wasn't that I didn't see the writing on the wall. You know, they had dropped me down. I threw sidearm. You know, listening to too many people's ideas of what they thought was best for me instead of just going out, shoving, and just, you know, getting that killer instinct, you know, from there. And then another incident, you know, I had my university coach say there was nothing wrong with my arm. I was a big pussy. I'll never play professional baseball. So rehabbing back and everything, if I ever ran into a lull or anything, and even to this day, you know, like if there's anything, if I don't feel like I'm moving and working on something, or, you know, sending out a text to you or whoever to line up a podcast, because I feel like people should know, you know, that's why I like Chance's podcast too. Like, there's so many stories of people like out there that for some reason outside of high school and into college that people think it's all sunshine and rainbows, and I think it's the opposite. I think it's fucking dark clouds and lightning, and, you know, you got to navigate through those rough waters to really, you know, because the rare stories is like I think you were talking about the 98 or 99% recently, and just that side of it, where it's like, God, that's the way I felt too, you know, even at the lowest of lows of, you know, getting hurt and yipping yourself up and not being able to go out and throw cheddar and figure out what's best for you, you know. So that brings me to my next question, because I'm having trouble with this myself. So one of my questions, and you, in your rants, is where I'm segueing from, is you know, you got to know what's best for you and yourself and your situation. And, you know, how do you in your mentorships, you know, are able to really get to guys and be like, you know, hey, maybe doing this isn't exactly what you like doing. Maybe you just like, you know, I think like Tanner, however you say his last name is, Rakelitis or whatever it is. You know, maybe you just like, yeah, maybe Rakelitis, yeah, maybe you just like throwing cheddar balls into, you know, and watching a number come up. Maybe that's the side of the training. You know, maybe you don't like getting on the mound and getting so jacked up that you know, you yell on the mound, or maybe that is something you like, you know? Like, what is that the side of the mentorship that you're going for, where it's like, you know, the eye-opening thing?
Yeah, as far as my mentorship goes, is in the beginning, you know, when all I was doing was lifting every day, throwing every day, eat, breathe, sleep, shit that. I only had one house at the time, and you know, my buddies that I was training with were the ones renting from me at that time. I was obsessed with writing these guys, custom lifting, the guys that are a little bit more advanced, getting creative on which balls they use, what, you know, only throwing off the mound or only doing, you know, like literally they would just let me do whatever the fuck. And I feel like a ton of them got a shit ton of results, because then later they moved up here, and then they were some of the top performing guys here, and I gave them the daily DGAF. I put it up. Like, not a lot of guys did it. The only guys that really did it are the guys that were like desperate, that like, people don't realize that non-yips is Clayton Kershaw when he's a savage. Even Kershaw gets the yips. There's videos of him walking a guy with the bases loaded. Like, you could see the ball coming out of his hand a little funky. Like, it happens everywhere. Or those games where you just see their face and they're kind of they're not fully there. They're still throwing ball, you know, getting outs or throwing strikes. It's like, that's still part of the yips. If you're thinking about anything other than that one thing, and one thing only, it's a form of the yips, and there's degrees of it, right? A real terrible degree, like the worst case scenario is you can't even do anything. Like you're airmailing it, spiking it, like it's hard to watch. John Lester can't even pick off the ball to the fucking first because he's got the yips.
Yeah.
He can't even throw the ball. He doesn't. You know that?
Yeah, I do know that. Yeah.
He doesn't throw the ball first ever.
Yeah.
Like yeah. So people don't realize that Andrew Miller, I heard, can't play catch. He has to back up to 90 feet and air the first couple out, and then he could throw. But he has to start at 90 feet.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot. People don't understand that this.
Who was he with before the
Red Sox?
No, before the Red Sox. Keep going back. Who did he come up with? Was
Marlins.
it the Marlins? That's right. I think they originally yipped him up. Do you remember him in the College World Series?
Yeah. Oh, he was in the Yankees too.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
He was really electric at North Carolina.
Yeah, he was 100 to 103.
Yeah, no, but I think he was yipped up, like regardless. Like I don't think he was yipped up really in at pitching in games. It was more yipped up just to hear that. Here's a dominant force that can't even play catch normally, which is understandable. It's like whatever you do the more of, you're gonna get better at. So if you're just, I mean, you've done it. We've all done it. It's like when you get a little comebacker to you and you just threw a ball max effort and now you're gonna have to just lob it to the first baseman. It's like, bro, it's either all or nothing at this point. But what I found from training so much and throwing so much this is what I don't necessarily fully agree after training for as long as I did and experimenting with so many different variables. I don't think that weighted balls is what causes you to throw harder. I like weighted balls because going from a 4-pound, 2-pound, all the way down to a 2-ounce ball and not losing feel and being able to adapt and be able to throw a curveball at a 6-ounce ball, 4-ounce ball, 5-ounce ball. It doesn't matter what. You can give me any ball and I can fucking throw it without losing feel. That's valuable. I could throw the ball from 10 feet away, normal, and it's like a crank. Like I could go my intensity level like this. It's like, that's really when you mastered throwing, when you could go full throttle and then taper it off, or when they give you a shitty ball and you can still throw it, like it doesn't phase you. The feel of it doesn't bother you because you've developed this. I always fuck it up when I say it. That's why I'm avoiding saying the word proprioception or whatever. Yeah, so that's what I really like about weighted balls is just picking up a random ball and like throwing it. Like sometimes I would just play catch and do long toss with like. One throw would be a 4-ounce, next one in the bucket I pull it out would be 11-ounce, and the next one would be a 9-ounce, and the next one would be a 5-ounce, and I just was warming up. Like I wasn't throwing a max effort, but just being able to do that, I found that everything just got way better. I think that the key ingredient this is going off topic, but key ingredient to throwing the ball harder and faster than you ever have is really making a singular focus on moving what needs to move for you. For me, it was how fast can I move my hand, or how fast could I whip my arm. I want to see how fast and electric I can move my arm. And for me, that made my body understand over time that in order to make this really fast, I need to relax everything else till the very last minute. And I'm going to explode the very last minute and coil up all that energy, all that adrenaline that's trying to come up like a thermometer. I'm going to push it down, like breathe it down, and I'm going to unleash at the end. And, because I'm thinking about it. When I was a little kid, I got up to 90. I would touch 90, like 86 to 90 my junior year of high school. I was up to 92 in some showcases in my senior year. That summer I was up to 93, like when I wasn't yipped up, and I always threw hard. Everybody's like, always talked about how hard I threw at that era. At that era, that was pretty hard, you know, in 2002, 2003, 2004. But when I was a little kid, I used to have cousins that played at USC. They were top dogs, and I'd play catch with them, and I would try to freak them out. Like, just throw it as hard as I fucking can. And they're like, holy shit. You know, I think that I remember playing catch one time in my front yard, and my cousin, who's 5 years older than me, I threw it really hard at him. I was mad at him, I don't know. And then he's like, oh shit. And he moved out of the way, and I laughed, and I thought it was funny. So I was just like, I got a kick out of them freaking out. So I would just try to show off, and anything I did, I would just throw it as hard as I could. Football, tetherball, I was trying to fucking crush it. Volleyball, when we're playing at the pool on vacation, I would just try to like scare people. And everywhere I went, I would just try to throw everything. Football, I was known for throwing the shit out of it, like anything. And I think that gets developed. I wasn't necessarily throwing specific weights of balls to add velocity. However, my intent, my ability to max out whatever I had inside me got developed at an early age. So I think that that's the key ingredient to throwing the shit out of it. Because there's a ton of guys in the big leagues that have never thrown past 90 feet or don't believe in weighted balls and throw fucking gas, bro. And for whatever reason, they've synced up throwing. It's not because they're big, because obviously you got that kid that's huge.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't throwing hard. You know, it's not about that. It's about a aggression and an intensity level that, you know, that gets developed. And I think guys could develop that with, you know, it doesn't matter. You could throw a wiffle ball all day long, or you could throw. It doesn't matter what you throw. You'll just get better at what you do more of. Is what I found out.
No, I like that. I like that. I like where you went with that, because what I'm preaching, like the kid we were talking about, I think that every day is a different day with your body, and you don't know what 100% that day is. So if I'm going to maximize whatever my velocity is going to be that day, I've got to try to get that feeling somehow. Like you said, some guys don't go past 90 feet, some guys do. You know, but even if you do, or however you do it, there still has to be some form of feel to prepare the body, which is why I like the, you know, you guys call them pull downs, step, shuffle, and fly, or run and guns, whatever the name of it is. You know what I mean? But still, getting a momentum phase and then throwing, and then understanding what you're throwing with. I really like what you said about your hand, because I think that's one of the things that I think unlocks a lot of guys' brains. And I'll ask you this question, because it's one of my, I'm going to ask you two questions. One of my favorite things to ask kids when I first get there with dads, okay? So, what throws the baseball?
What throws the baseball? Well, the way I look at it, and the way that I was taught, when I really clicked in my head of what threw a ball is, obviously it's more like a wave or a bullwhip. I like the bullwhip analogy, and snapping a towel and a catapult is kind of like really, I think bullwhip, the one I would always use is the bullwhip, or a snapping of a towel, or a wave, because they're kind of similar. They're constantly moving. So I think that it's the whole kinetic chain. I mean, without getting too technical, I just think that the ball is just in your hand for the ride. So, and then if you do everything right, and if you give the right commands to your bodies over time, then the arm is like the rawhide string of the whip, if you will, and your lower half is kind of like the handle of the whip. So for me, I see all these guys trying to move really fast down the mound. It fucks everything up. On a pull down, you have to maintain momentum and block with the front leg. So it really has nothing to do with the back leg type of shit. From a standstill, you know, you can't really generate much momentum with a fucking foot glued to the ground. So you need to be able to rotate really well and allow the rawhide string to generate the energy in order to snap, right? So for me, I was calm before the storm. So I want to keep my motion the same pace that I walk in order to make this fast. So I knew that I have to move my body slower and more powerfully so that this could be fast. Because if I move my body too fast at the wrong time, it's like driving a stick shift car, and if you go from first gear to fourth gear, we all know what happens. So anyways, I don't know if there is an answer of what throws the ball. I think that the entire thing throws the ball. And I think that in order to throw the ball really, 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 really well, you need to understand how to, not try to control specific. I don't know. I think it's a tough one, man.
I think you got yipped on that one. I think you got yipped on yourself right there. Because I personally
got yipped on that one because there's no. I honestly don't think that one answer to that.
No, there's not. There's not. But so when I ask a guy like how that goes, the easy answer, which is what I'm looking for, and you started with, was your hand. Because if I put because most of the time these guys, they come off of, we need hip shoulder separation, or it's you throw it with your legs, because they're just repeating stuff that people have told them. And so you just do the simple thing. If I put the ball in your hip, is your hip going to throw the ball? No. If I put the ball in your shoulder, is your shoulder going to throw the ball? No. Your elbow? No. Your hand throws the ball, right? So, and like you were saying, like the bullwhip, I use the exact same bullwhip analogy, whatever, because we're not even talking about max effort throw. We're just talking about general throwing, right? So, with that, now let me ask you phase 2 of the question. So, if the hand throws the ball, what rotates the body?
What do you mean? The trunk of your trunk's rotating the body.
Okay, but what are you focusing on rotating the body?
Well, that's tough for me because I don't ever really think about that. I just think about, for me, the cue is how fast can I move? How fast can I make the ball spin? How fast can I move my hand? And that command in itself automatically allows me to disconnect how I'm supposed to disconnect, allows me to rotate how I'm supposed to rotate, and my body already knows what the fuck to do because I've done it for so long. So I've never thought about rotating at all. But if I wanted to get technical with it, I would say I always chop my body in half. So my right side of my trunk is what's rotating. It rotating through. The left side is gonna firm up so that this can rotate around. Like if I was gonna punch somebody in the face, that's how I would do it. And you see boxers do it all the time. They disconnect their other arm while they're coming through. So for me, it's like my old pitching coach told me, if I chopped off your arms, that's why I don't really, I see your point with the hand's the one that throws the ball and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's just an end result of doing everything else.
No, exactly. Yeah. But you were right with the hand. But the thing is most of the people don't think about the hand. You know what I mean? That's my point of it. Yeah, most people are like, they're like, oh, let me torque my legs, let me torque my shoulder, let me get my front side. You know what I mean? It's all extra shit.
I remember when I was pulling down and I tried all the cues, but some people's cues work for them. Like
exactly.
One of the guys at the facility, for him, it's rotating his back shoulder down as fast as he can. It worked for him for I don't know how, but it worked for him. For me, I was doing that and my numbers sucked. And then I'd go, on the mound and I'd throw gas. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm moving really fast, but then I forgot about my arm because I'm so worried about my body moving so fast. And as soon as I added the arm to it, whoosh, so for me, my old pitching coach would always tell me this, and this stuck with me forever, is he would just kind of, he wasn't using his body or anything, but he would just, be stationary throw. He'd go focus on my shoulder, and then he'd do the arm throw. And he's like, all right, he's like, it's pretty easy to keep your eye on it, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, now focus on my elbow. And then he wasn't trying to throw the ball hard, just about as fast as I'm doing it. And then he goes, little bit more, a little faster, right? A little blurrier. And he goes, now look at my hand. He goes, I don't care how slow I try to move my arm. If I keep this relaxed, my hand's always a blur. And he goes, what's the fastest part of your body? And I go, my hand. He goes, nah. The middle finger, the last little top part of this middle finger is the fastest part of your body if everything is relaxed. And I go, all right. And then he's like, this is your rawhide string. If you go like this, make a fist. And then he's like, you know how slow it is? He goes, this can never be tight. If you want everything to move as fast as humanly possible. And the way to do that, he goes, think about rolling up a towel. If you try to move the front hand too fast, it won't snap. You have to go slow and then whack, and that's how wave goes. Builds slow, and then at the very curls and whoosh, so that's what I always had in my head of how to do it. So for me, yeah, I mean, that's just a tough fucking question, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean,
Well, so
it's the last.
you know too much. You know too
Yeah,
much
exactly.
information on it. But like I said, just for the internet coaches, for the dads that do all the research and everything, and you see all this stuff out there, sometimes the simple answer, which is what you started with, both of those, because I've had both of those things.
Yeah.
It's one of my things to do, to unyip yourself a little bit, at least on trying to just get the basic stuff down.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I honestly, if I could do it all over again, you know, I don't like if I was a player, I'd be like, when I was a little kid, I didn't know what the fuck threw the ball. I was like, I would probably told you I throw the fucking ball. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I throw the shit out of it, whatever. Because that's how I was when I was a little kid. So I think that, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? But my point is I don't really think I think guys suck or they don't know how to throw hard because they're trying to do it with their legs. Like, oh, you gotta throw with your legs. Okay, what the fuck? What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and or they try to rotate the shoulder or whatever. And I learned how to use my body because my pitching coach at the time would tell me to cut off my arms. How would you throw? How would you throw something if I put it right here?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you use your body. Now comes the arm that's going to hold on to the ball, and the ball's along for a ride, but this is a whip. And I'm like, all right, I got you now. And then it's for me, it's the hand is my focus is the hand throws the ball for me. So I would agree with you at the end of the day because for me, the hand is so important. Think of all the guys that get so yipped up over grips, though. So that's the fine
Yeah.
line is when guys
Yeah.
start thinking, oh, it's the hand, that's really easy to kind of, oh, shit, oh, shit, oh,
Yeah.
shit, But for
Yeah.
me, owning the hand and being able to throw the ball, holding it anyway without it affecting the rest of it is very important.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite, like the other things that I throw out is I think the M word, the use of the word mechanics is a bad word because people slow down. They try to be too tight, like you were saying. There's no fluidity. There's no relaxation.
Yeah,
If
and
I
I think yeah, I think it's just to understand like what the word means to each individual. Because like for instance, like some guys like whatever Andrew Miller, keep talking about that. I don't know why I always use him as you see him doing a towel drill before games. Like some other people might be like, oh, towel drill kills, fuck me up, But for him, for whatever reason, it works,
Yeah.
And some people, you might give them a cue and all of a sudden it's the game changer. But then for the other guy, it's not a game changer. And for me, I think in metaphor, in like very vivid visually. So you need to give me something that I can relate to. Oh, bullwhip. I've done a bullwhip before, so I know how to do that. So
Yeah.
it makes a
And
lot of sense.
they love the towel drill down in Mexico. They love it. Putting the thing way down on the ground. Really bend the
That,
back.
that's how I got the fucking pinch in my shoulder in 2012. I actually got results from it, and it wasn't really from the towel drill. It was from the fucking mental focus that I was going to be the most efficient, consistent motherfucker ever and repeat everything over and over and over again. Because after every towel drill, I would throw 10 balls, almost max effort off the mound, and just repetition. But I would take that towel, you know how they tape it?
Yeah, yeah,
It's like heavy. Yeah,
yeah,
that shit, bro. And you're hitting it on the thing.
yeah.
I would try to kill this fool with it. Like I was doing max effort with a towel drill. And then it just after time, like you're not pronating because you're keeping it like this, you know?
Yeah.
And it just fucked my shit up. Yeah. So, but they
That's
love it
hilarious.
over there, man.
No,
But
for
they get
sure.
results because they're throwing. If you don't throw, like, if you're not throwing strikes and shoving dick, and then how can you argue though? If like you got some guy doing a towel drill and that guy's getting results and that guy was a big leaguer, and then you're over here not a big leaguer, you read some blog posts or you have these lofty ideas that long toss is the way or just doing this is the way, but you suck. How are you going to, have any ground to stand on? And that's how I was. It was just like, okay, I'm preaching, but I'm not backing anything up
Yeah.
here.
I'm totally with you on that one, man. That's my, I'm the more, I came in, I've always been open-minded on this stuff. And so that's, when I do all this stuff, it's like, look, this is what I've done. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. And I'm totally with you. Like, I've seen plenty of guys that go do the weighted ball stuff, go do this and that. And it worked for me. And then the towel stuff, when I did it, same thing, dude. When I was doing the towel drill, they're trying to, hey, get a little bit more in line, because I'm just a long arm dude, and for some reason, whenever I go straight, like they want that directional, perfectly sideways movement. Whenever I do that, I just fly open, and I'm never. It's not even that flying open's bad. It's just I'm never in the zone, you know. So whatever my timing mechanism, because I'm a medium to slow pace guy too, to go out, I have to do this front arm sweep thing, and people have been telling me for years it's costing you velocity, this and that, and I'm like, well, it's just a timing mechanism for me to get out where I need to do to unload my energy, and so like it doesn't bother me, you know what I mean, for that. And plenty of the kids that I help with, they don't throw all the same way and stuff. So it's interesting, just to debate on it, talk about it, and just try to get through. You've been through all that side of it. It sounds like, we've done some of the similar research. You've done a lot more, practitioner of a lot of the stuff. And, that's why really, honestly, why I wanted to get you on here and try to, take out a chunk of your very valuable day to try to be like, look, like this guy and I, like, we've been through the shit. Like, just everybody's got to find your shit, just like what you say, where it's like, nobody knows. You got to go out and you're throwing the baseball. That's what I try to tell. I don't even know if you said about Fernando or whatever it was, but you're throwing the ball. Take about accountability for you throwing the ball. You don't need your coach to throw the ball.
Yeah, I mean, when I reflect on everything, I've always believed that towel drill was stupid. And it was because my old mentor, pitching coach, he really knew his shit of biomechanics. He didn't use no video. He didn't use none of that, but he knew a lot. And my pitches that I have to this day, I honestly, like, if I had to go get ready for a season and compete, and they're like, hey, you have, how many pitches do I have? 12, 6, okay. If you had to play 4 seasons, but the kicker is we're going to give you $10 million, and every season you got to go out there but only 2 pitches, and then they're like, the kicker is you have to go dominate with, you only get paid if you dominate, but you can only pick 1 pitch to go out there. Because of my mentor, and so many repetitions of throwing these pitches, I honestly, wholeheartedly could go out there and I feel like all my pitches are equal. Some may argue that the splitter is better than the curveball or whatever, but I honestly don't think so. I think I could go out there and I own them so much because of him, and so many 2-hour bullpens, like beating it over the head, and then the right cueing and all that stuff. Like, I honestly think that all my pitches are just as nasty just because of him. The only pitch that I lost when I changed my arm angle was a slider. I used to have a pretty good slider when I was like lower. I don't know how to throw a slider if my life depended on it. I don't want to know. But anyways, the big takeaway when I reflect on doing a towel drill, on entertaining the tall and fall thing, the drop and drive thing, the weighted balls, the connection balls, all this shit. That just at the end of the day, it just eyewash, man. All of it is just so stupid. It's not even funny. The only thing that matters is your intention and the amount of energy and focus that you put into that intention. So, for instance, if you want to become the best pitcher possible, but I think a lot of people have missed that one thing. How do I become the best pitcher I could possibly be? And then they get hung up on the best way to train, right? Or the right drills. It's like, wait a minute. You just forgot your main objective. Your main objective was to be the best motherfucking pitcher on the mound. Not who's the best at long toss, who's the best at pull downs, who's the best at the towel drill. All this stupid shit that doesn't fucking make you better on the mound. So I think that's the key ingredient, because if you're telling me you're not good enough, you're not resourceful enough and creative enough, that if the only drill you had to do was a towel drill, and then you had to go out and pitch, you just suck or what? Because there's a ton of guys that fucking made a lot of money in the game that are still playing, that's their bread and butter.
Yeah.
Is get here, towel drill. But they don't throw like that. Whatever reason, it makes them psychologically feel like this is making me good, and that's what people mistake. And that's what people yip themselves, because they think that one way is better than the other, this way. Sure, I'm sure there's more. If you did a study, there's more optimal ways to move. There's more optimal ways to train, periodization, and all this other technical shit. Let the professionals do that shit. If you take, and this is when I really got a shift, but then I backed off on it. My senior year, my school, I was stuck there. The guy loved the towel drill. He loved throwing off his knees. He loved running pulls. All this stupid shit that I really didn't believe in. And I would fight him on it. I wouldn't do it like the year before. But then in the back of my head, I kind of wanted to please him. So I would like yip myself, because I was like, want to do it my way, but don't want to do it his way, but don't want to piss him off. So I would just, and I do it. I go, like that's the sound I'd always make. PFPs, what a waste of time. Like, and I wouldn't get any better. Guys were getting better than me, even though I was more talented. They were getting better results than me, because when I'd show up, I go, and when they do it, they're like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna fucking figure it out. I'm gonna dominate and get a spot on this pitching lineup rotation, and they would do good, and with whatever they had, they would do good with that. And I had so much, and I would struggle, because I thought I knew everything, the right way to do it, and I wasn't doing it that way, and that's what was limiting me, and all these fucking excuses. But senior year, Cal Lutheran, I said, fuck it. I don't know. I started training like 3 hours. It was probably too much, but I was lifting like 3 hours a day with my buddy and this other guy. They were savages. Like, we got so addicted to training and lifting, and I was a freak, bro. Like, I honestly could dunk. I felt like I could throw for hours. I was like pull down as hard as I fucking could. And this is before I knew about pull downs and all this stuff. I would just, play catch, and then I would just try to kill my throwing partner. And I said, I don't give a fuck if I throw from my knees, if I throw with my eyes closed, if I throw towel drill, if I have to run poles, if I have to do anything, I am going to be the best at all of it. I'm going to be the best at PFPs. I'm going to be the best at the towel drill. I'm going to be the best at everything I fucking do. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to be the fucking best at it, and my results were through the roof. And I did throw off my knees. I did do the towel drill. I did do the one knee throw. That's stupid. I'm like, if I'm the best and I can't throw off my knees, if I'm going to be a master at throwing and I can't throw off my knees, is throwing off my knees really going to debilitate my results? If they are, I suck. I don't own shit. If I can't do a towel drill, and if a towel drill will fuck me up in a game, I suck. If running poles and being the fastest at running poles is going to make me throw slower, I shouldn't be playing. And when I got that mentality, it's like, you can throw anything at me, all good. Yeah, fuck yeah. If I was going to write a program, I wouldn't do this, but, I'm going to be the best at it, or why do it? Or really don't do it and be like, sorry, coach, I respect what you're trying to do, but I'm not touching that. I'm doing me, and that's it. And that's I give kudos to Trevor Bauer for that, because I didn't have the cojones to do that. So that was the other best resort, But when you do it the other way, you got to back it up.
Yeah, for sure.
You slip a little bit.
Yeah, he gone for sure.
Yeah.
So all right, dude.
That's That's the takeaway right there is who cares whatever you're doing, because that might be all you know how to do at the moment, but if you're constantly always searching without, the right way or the better way will reveal itself on its own. You don't necessarily need to search it out and wait, because I think a lot of guys wait and they research and they do it and they stop moving. If you do whatever it is that your coach is making you do at this moment wholeheartedly with the intention of being the best pitcher you could possibly be, and you constantly have that intention of being the best you could possibly be, the better way will constantly just reveal itself, like driving in a dark road with your headlights, little by little. You don't need to search it out. You'll run into it.
Yeah, I like that. Well, dude, look, we've been going I know you and I could for sure go even longer, but
just the Mexico League could have went for 5 hours.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. We'll definitely have to do it again. Like I said, I've got ideas about trying to do like some some 2 or 3 different people that we can get on here and really just stir it up, with your personality and some other guys, and just have baseball talks about stuff. I think that'd be kind of a cool idea, just to see.
Yeah, and then
just get you opinion.
I'm gonna get my, I've collected the calls. I just haven't put them on YouTube or whatever. But I'm going to get the DGAF calls going, and then we can hop on one of those and talk about other things and keep it going, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's always good for real to recognize real. I've always enjoyed your stuff and the stuff you put out there, and just putting out just this really, I would call it more ownership of what you really are trying to get out there and do as a thrower, as at whatever age it is. Because just like you get tons of DMs. I get tons of DMs where it's like, hey, what do I do here? What do I do there? And just with the amount of information and resource out there, sometimes I just feel like people spend too much time on this thing instead of just going out and throwing and see what happens. Because no matter what, even with you and I are talking, you can be the strongest guy in the world. You can be the fastest guy in the world. You can be the smartest guy in the world. But if you're not throwing the ball, what are you really working on? If you're doing separation balance drills for 30 minutes in your lesson, and your guy's like, hey, it's November, we're throwing too soon, but you want to get velocity and you throw 68 miles an hour, then you're obviously not spending your time correctly. Be intelligent and take ownership of your own stuff.
Yeah, and I think that the big takeaway, and I'm gonna write a fucking book about this shit. But baseball is very complicated, right? You could argue, to throw a strike, there's so many things that have to happen. To hit a ball, so many things have to happen. Let somebody that's into science go do that shit, bro. We already know it's fucking difficult. Like, go take your girlfriend to a batting cage, and if she doesn't have any references from the past, it's gonna be hilarious, right? Because it's a lot of things need to work together in order to make that happen. So if you're already a baseball player, you don't need to think about all the little finite details of how to throw. You just need to focus on the big, simple ones. That is the objective. And I think simplifying things to the, not making them retarded, but simplifying them where it's like so easy. It's like, I need to get faster. Okay, well, you don't need to figure out the mechanics of getting faster. You need to figure out, I'm going to get faster. Well, what's the logical thing to do? Oh, move the fucking bar faster. Start sprinting fucking more. I need to throw the ball faster. What should I do? Motherfucker, throw the ball faster. Try to throw faster.
Yeah.
You want to get bigger? You want to gain weight? Eat more motherfucking food. Like, it's not that fucking hard.
Yeah.
You can go let somebody else reveal to you the more optimal way to doing it. But when you're at the beginning, throwing 68 miles an hour, like, try to throw it harder, man. Like, every time you throw. Like, I don't care. Like, it might be reckless. When I was a little kid, if my arm was sore, I would just throw it as hard as I could. And then when it would ache so much from doing it too much, I would stop. And then do it again. Oh, it feels good. Oh, I mean, fucking chuck it. Who cares? I would get tendonitis all the time because people would tell me to slow down, and I just would not listen to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I do. That's my favorite part about it. Is like, you have to try to throw hard. It just doesn't happen. Like, I don't know. I think you talked about it too, but it just, even with me, like, the more and more I've been around the game and traveled around the world and been around these guys, like, I know that there's like one guy that might be just the freak that is just so talented, But the more and more I run into it, that one guy, even a Bryce Harper, whoever it is, he might be there at 12, but the guys that continue working and understand like the progress and where they want to be, I really don't think I think it's all hard work. I don't think it's talent at all. I think it's all, like you're saying, singular focus, being able to continue and deal with your ups and downs and go through. But every once in a while, there's a Chapman. There's a Joe Kelly. There's somebody that's really throwing up there. But most, 99% of the time, it's hard work. It's consistency.
Yeah, and I think that there's three types of guys, really. There's the guys that are born whatever or fall into these cues at an early age, and I feel like I genuinely was one of them, where I would throw really, really hard. Is when you're like that, when you have that know-how and gift, that you have something that that's rare, that person needs to focus all their efforts on performing, and that's it. Being competitive, being a savage competitor, because they got it already. They need to train their dick off in the weight room so that they get stronger and they stay healthy, whatever, to supplement what they already have and keep it moving. But the only focus should be on that. Then there's the other guys that are maybe, someone told them to slow down, or they are not that athletic or whatever. Those people, if they're already competitive and they already know how to perform, maybe, but they're just not as gifted. Those people need to focus more on development and like doing specific shit to up their shit, right? That's where their focus needs to go. And then the worst of the worst is probably, maybe there's two more. The other one is the guy that's got the talent, but it's all yipped up. That's the worst thing ever. When they're focusing on what the other guy should be focusing on, that guy already got it. Like, stop, bro. If you're topping out at 90, 92 in high school with no size whatsoever, and you're a wire, imagine if you just keep focused on competition and fucking shoving it down people's throats, how fast you're going to throw when you're 20, 21, 22. You're going to go through the fucking roof, right? And I think that when somebody and coaches and mentors need to know when to stop fucking coaching them on the wrong things.
Yeah.
There's certain times to coach development. There's certain times to coach performance and competition. and to shut off that valve. Because if the worst are these guys that I see that are so smart and over analytical kids that don't have the talent off the bat, they literally have no hope whatsoever. Those guys need to shift to the just focus on being a savage to break through that, because that's poison, man. You can't be the scientist and the experiment all at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I gotta.
I like.
Yeah. Are you recording this or what? You know, if not, I'll have it on YouTube. You can reuse it. You know. Yeah. Well, dude, look, I know that we've been going like 2 hours right now. I'm pumped about it. Like we definitely snuck this thing in. I know you're busy. I'm busy. I got to get going too. Tell everybody where they can find you. What's the best way to follow you, and from there, and I'll put that in the description also.
Best way to follow me is go to Flama DGAF, DGAF, Flama DGAF on Twitter and on Instagram. I don't really fuck with my Snapchat anymore that much, so there's no point going there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, dude, guys, if you haven't checked him out, do it. He's got some exciting stuff coming out. I know we talked about that recently too. If you want to do a DGAF call and mentorship, he's got all his information. You need to DM him on Instagram for that. You got anything else? You got one more tidbit you want to drop on Cutternation?
The only thing that I'm going to tell you guys is that my mission, and I'm not going to do it alone, obviously, is my mission is to make baseball relevant, to make baseball a sport where it adds up with NFL, with the NBA. I'm trying to bring pop culture. I'm trying to change the game and make it a little bit more up to date, because I think it's old school. I think there's a bunch of old white guys, you know, controlling slave ship. I mean, that's kind of aggressive, but I honestly view it that way. And I think it needs to change, and I'm on a mission to change it. And I need the youth guys that like the hip hop, that like the trap music, the Travis Scotts. All those fucking people are going to be the ones that change baseball if they don't go off and play basketball or football and do the cool sports. Stick with baseball. I'm a fucking change this shit. Me, John, we're all gonna change this shit. All the new school dudes. So that's it. Dropping merch. I want to be releasing limited runs of spoof gear, spoof stuff off pop culture, things that are hot in fashion right now. I'm gonna be making baseball related merchandise for limited runs. So stay tuned for that. You can see that on Instagram and Twitter or whatever.
That's cool. Awesome. Yeah. Let me know when you do that, and I'll repost it for you and get it out there.
I will.
So,
I have it already. I'm just been so hesitant to post it because it's just gonna be more work. It's just the truth.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I enjoy working all the time too, so I understand.
Yeah,
once you start a new thing, it just doesn't stop.
The real estate and then the personal brand is very time consuming in itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, man.
All right, dude. Well, guys. Yeah,
and
definitely.
Where could I watch it? On your YouTube show?
Yeah, this is gonna be on YouTube. We're gonna be able to go to you got to go to YouTube, search Jonathan Sintez. We'll have a link. You'll be able to swipe up on my Instagram. It'll be on Twitter, on Facebook, and everything from there. So, and I'll send you over some little tidbit bites or whatever that you can repost and stuff on there of us talking about it and stuff like that. It'd be easy for us to get out there. So, but cool. Yeah, definitely. So don't go anywhere when we end this, but, because I'll stop the broadcast and we'll finish up. So, but guys, like I said, last thing is if you want to get the limited hats that I got right here, the leather patch hats, we got shirts. I make all these. If you don't have J-bands, any weighted balls or flush bands, and you want to get some, you can get on my website, links in my Instagram. If you guys got anything else for Flama, hit him up on Instagram at Flama DGAF, as well as on Twitter. You can all follow him on there. He's a great resource. It's a part of my morning coffee, honestly. It's a little coffee, and then if he's posted some new thing, I'm like, well, let's see what knowledge that he's bestowed upon some weak human who's decided to chime in and tell him that this is, whatever. It's quite hilarious if you don't get offended, which, let's stop getting offended in general. Like, let's just understand that. Yeah. Sometimes people can be satiristic, and it's on purpose, So, if you're soft as a baseball player, you're not going to make it. If you don't understand that if you wear some whack, you know, Puma spikes, and people think that, you know, if you say that these are going to make me throw harder and you don't, then I hope your baseball team is on your ass about that, you know?
But funny
So-
you say that. I'm throwing it out there in the universe that I will be doing a collaboration in the future with Puma and revamping their people died.
That's funny.
It's funny you say that. I've been getting my eye on that. Like, I remember Puma used to be so sick.
Yeah, I remember too with the A's. The A's had those nasty Pumas, you know.
Oh yeah, the white with the green.
Yeah, yeah, they were sure. All right, guys, appreciate it. Thanks again, and repost this. Show some love. All right.